Okay, over the last few months when we've been pulling all of this together, we've been a little bit busy in the background trying to pull a few things out of the hat really. Just like to take you through a few of those. One of the first things that I know some of you are aware of and quite active on is our new Facebook page and support group. So a couple of activities we've got going on Facebook. First one is launching ourselves as a new organisation. We've created our new Facebook page for the identity of that organisation, and we'll be looking from this point onwards to be sharing information about Ring20 and about our activities and things like what's happening today on that Facebook page. So what we are actually going to need is obviously people to like our page and engage with us and respond to us and give us feedback on the information that's going to go out there. That's Ring20 Research and Support UK, and on our brochures there's the link to the new Facebook page itself. So really keen to get families to like that page if they would do so. That'd be brilliant. We've also got something we launched a couple of months ago which has really taken off like wildfire, which has been fantastic, which is a closed forum for families to communicate with each other on Facebook, sharing information, sharing their issues, their concerns, their experiences, and just communicating with other families that are in a same or similar position who are able to say, well, hey, that happened to my child and I tried this, or have you tried that? And it's just family to family support. Sometimes it's just a cry for help. We had a family last week that the husband has actually just had a first seizure out of nowhere, and it's the child with Ring20, and it's fantastic to see the other families coming together and showing their support for that family who were actually hoping to be here today, and they were coming from the continent, so they were going to make a big effort, which is fantastic to have, you know, that kind of support around us. So then, for anyone who's not actively involved in the support group, you may not be someone who wants to put their own views or their own questions or posts on Facebook, but you may just want to share in the information that others are sharing amongst each other, and maybe just engaging with that conversation to see whether there's anything that is relevant to you and whether there's any way in which other families' experiences can help yourselves. Because we all learn from each other, and I think it's just a case of spreading the word. Moving on to the new website, which is really exciting. We went live this week, which is fantastic. If you go and look us up, you'll find us. We've got a holding page at the moment, but it's there, it's live. It's got links to, we have a new email address, Ring20UK@outlook.com. So that's the new email address to contact us on. It has the links to the Facebook as well. And what we're looking to populate behind that, as Don mentioned, is a lot of information. So we're going to have some updates on medical information. So clinical information is currently being reviewed, and we're hoping to get something back over the coming weeks or so from Dr. Saeed Hussain in the US, who's very kindly offered to give us as much updated clinical information as is available on the condition for us to be able to publish that on our website, which is really exciting because I don't think there's been very much new information out on the web for maybe 4 or 5 years now. From a genetics perspective, again, we've got Nancy Spinner, geneticist from CHOP in the US again. Nancy and her team have kindly offered to update the genetics information, and they've actually told us that there's quite a lot of new genetic information that they have to make available to us as families and to professionals regarding the research that is has been conducted and is ongoing in respect of ring chromosomes that they are undertaking in the US, which for ourselves as family is fantastic. As well as that, I don't know how many of you are aware, but we have a PhD student in Chile, in Lima, a gentleman called Juan Carlos, and he is conducting a research study on ring chromosome 20 patients, and he's going to be giving us a précis of his study and what that's looking into, and hopefully in the ongoing future we'll see the results of his study and be able to publish those, and we'll learn a little bit more about his team. That's all being conducted between English Spanish translation, to which I'm extremely grateful for my daughter to be able to help me out on that. And Juan Carlos is working very closely with Nancy Spinner's team, who are kindly collaborating with them and helping to perform some of the genetic testing for the study. So that's really exciting. Something that I know a number of you have seen and responded to, which has been really brilliant. The last couple of weeks, I'll get Don to hand these out, I made a few copies. I put together, and this was as a result of our families, all sort of talking to each other and saying we're all on different, seem to be on different medications, different treatments, what works, what doesn't. So we put together a little survey, a quick little survey to ask people what treatments were they on, what treatments have they tried, and what are their perceptions with regards to the success or otherwise of those treatments. So a pretty informal survey. In 2 weeks, this went out to something like 80 families. We've had 22 responses, which is pretty good success rate for that very short space of time. It's really, really encouraging. And I spent a little bit of time last night, because I'd left it right down to the wire, to actually summarise some of the results of those findings, which I've handed out here today. These will be published on the Facebook page and published out to families. But some of the, just to highlight a couple of the key sort of findings that we're seeing there, is not only are most of the respondents all on different treatments, many are on multiple therapies, and we've heard at our event today that beyond anything beyond 2 AEDs, you're looking at a 5% success rate on a third AED. The average for our family, 22 respondents, is 2.5 AEDs. That's maybe with VNS and ketogenic diet. Some are on 3 or 4 AEDs currently. They're all on a complete mixture of drugs. There doesn't seem to be a common theme specifically around there, which is interesting. And the number of anti-epileptic drugs tried varies from none up to one family that's actually tried 21 other drugs in the past. So that's quite considerable trial and error. So I think that kind of tends to start to tell a little bit of a story. We have a number of respondents that have a VNS in situ. The benefits, the perception of benefits of that, we've got some that have responded that there's been some benefits, not particularly strong either way. Whereas with ketogenic diet, again, we have a number of respondents that are on the ketogenic diet or have tried the ketogenic diet, and I believe when I looked at the results, more than half, or about half or so of them, have had some degree of success. And this was where families felt free to comment, and I've added those comments into the back of the response, and the comments are mostly very favourable. Where they have tried the diet, it tends to be particularly in favour. So that's interesting. I think another general interesting point with VNS and diet is the number of respondents that have said where they haven't been offered those as treatment therapies at all. So I think that's also kind of interesting, that perhaps they consider all of the options on the table, because I think there's a difference between being offered a treatment and making a decision whether you wish to try that or not even being given the option to try. So that's a little something for you to peruse, and I'm sure there'll be lots more questions. But any more families that would like to respond to the survey's still open. I'll leave it open for some time. It would be really encouraging. The more families that we get to respond to this survey, the more telling the results and the more interesting things that we might find out there.